We're live in my kitchen. I'm very busy making sauerkraut, so I thought while I've got nice purple hands, I would share with you how easy it is to make this at home. Now, if you've been hanging around in this group long enough, you will know that I love making sauerkraut and kimchi and having fun in the kitchen because that is where the magic happens. So if you are perimenopausal, menopausal, and you are navigating this whole gut health topic, then you will know that I love making sauerkraut and you'll know how easy it is. So I've got various stages. I've got raw cabbage, which I'm busy chopping. I've got chopped cabbage, just red cabbage, which I have added the equivalent of a tablespoon of amazing Cornish seaweed salt. I've also added some dulse flakes to this. Now, dulse, very high in iodine, very good for supporting your thyroid, helping manage blood sugars, super, super important, amazing for your hormones. So this has got, this Cornish seaweed salt has got dulse in it as well. And then I've got a couple of at different stages. I've already jarred up those sauerkraut. And here I've got one that I made a couple of weeks ago. So that's what it's going to look like. Okay, once it's fermented, and this would be almost ready to eat. So it's a super easy process. I tend to get a better result if I've cut my cabbage up. Instead of putting it into a food processor, I get a better, crisper, more sour result when I cut it nice and fine. So I'm cutting them as fine as I can get them, nice, fine. I mean, I've got some thicker chunks there, but I'm spending a bit of time getting that as fine as possible. I keep the ends off the cabbage because they're really good for using in the top of the jar. Look, you can see here, right in the top of the jar, I've got a one of those edges wedged in there, so all the liquid stays below the surface. All the liquid covers the top of the cabbage. I also have a tamper. You could use a rolling pin. You could use, look, a bit of wood. This is specifically for fermenting. As you can see, it gets nice and stained. And it's quite physical work. I'm chopping and I'm pounding. So in here, I've also got a tablespoon of juniper berries, organic juniper berries. I like the flavor of juniper berries. You could add fennel seeds, dill seeds, celery seeds, whatever you like the flavor of, just to infuse in the flavor. Now, you want to be bashing and massaging the salt in until you get the cabbage to a point where it goes nice and shiny. And down the bottom of this jar, this bowl here, you will be able to see, you can we're almost there, squeezing out the liquid. So you get it to the point where the texture completely changes. It's raw, but the salt massages it and marinates it, and you get to the point where you end up with quite a lot of liquid. I don't know if you can see this, not very good lighting or anything, but quite a lot of liquid there at the bottom of the bowl. And that is the point where it's ready to put into your jar. Now, I'm going to probably massage this a little bit more, but just to show you, I like to get, a nice, decent sized jar. Make sure the jar is clean because you don't want your ferment to be contaminated by something that was in the jar that was dirty. So then I tend to put the jar in the middle of the ferment because you're going to end up with mess everywhere. And I end up stuffing that in. Now, I would normally pound this a little bit more. It's not quite as moist as I would like it. And I get my tamper and I really, really use a lot of strength and press all of that down, get as much into the jar as possible. But in doing that, I'm getting all the air bubbles out as well. All right. So you keep going with that and you get to a point where it's nice and full. And then I've got the end of the cabbage sticking there. And I make sure I press down loads to get any excess air out because we don't want air in the process. And you can see on this one, a lot of the liquid's coming up over the top of the cabbage, which is a good thing. And then seal it. Now, what you'll have to do in about 3 or 4 days is you'll have to burp your sauerkraut. And what I mean by that, and this one's already done, it's a couple of weeks old, but you can open the jar and press down again. And what happens is all this bubbles, all this agitation, all this magic is happening. And you press down and all that air will escape, and then you pop the lid back on. Now, a little word of warning, if you don't keep it in a tray or a bowl, then that will bubble over and you'll end up with a nice purple stained ring on your bench top or your cupboard or wherever you've got it stored, or on the floor of your utility room, you'll end up with a nice purple stain that you won't be able to get out. So a little bit of a trick, you can keep it all in a tray, and then when it's bubbling up and it's getting agitated, it won't stain your floor or your shelf or wherever you're storing it. Okay, so hang with me while I'm pounding a little bit more. I think I'm just gonna pound away a little bit more at this cabbage, getting it all nice and moist, and it's sort of marinating it in a way. And it's interesting, you can use non-organic cabbage. The fermentation and that agitation and that change that happens, like you're growing your B12, you're making B12, all that bacteria that then becomes a living organism has so much higher vitamins and minerals. So you're taking the cabbage and you're magnifying the nutritional value of it, because the vitamin C is enhanced and the B12 is enhanced, and all those good vitamins and minerals. In that agitation process, that good bacteria grows and enhances the mineral content. So it's a very good way to support your immune system. And of course, this time of year, coughs and colds going around, viruses going around, you want to be able to support your immune system. And this is one of the best ways of, having regular probiotics. You could have kefir or kombucha or sauerkraut or kimchi, and having them regularly in your diet is a really good way to make sure you stay healthy at this time of the year, the change of the seasons. It's a really good time to throw off some toxins, and of course how that presents is we get sick. We have coughs and colds, and that's nature's way of saying we need to burn off some toxins. So if you are getting sick, then support your body as you as you heal. Don't suppress, support the body as it throws off those toxins. And that is a good way to make sure that you are enhancing your immune system and not killing off the good bacteria in your gut. And of course, for children, it's a really important part of development that they do get sick, that they have this opportunity to throw off the toxins that they've been born in with, because we have this level of toxicity. We have, 3 generations of toxicity that we're born in with. And so having those childhood illnesses is a really good way to burn that off. And that's important. It's really important for development. Jack last week had a bit of a sore throat, and I can remember my twin brother being quite ill at the same time. At that age, 13, 14-year-olds, boys will get often bouts of tonsillitis or mumps or sore throats, and that's a really good sign that your immune system is developing, and cognitively you're developing, and of course the hormones, really important. So there we go. My husband's just entered the kitchen and he's about to swallow a sword. Oh my God, do you want to watch that? The things that go on in our house. There he is. He's going to swallow a sword. He's getting ready for Halloween. So I'm getting ready for the winter. Halloween, Christmas, fermenting cabbage. And my husband is going to swallow that sword.
Bit of lubrication.
Lubrication is needed. So there we go. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on replay, please #replay. If you've got any questions about swallowing swords, if you've got any questions about your immune system, the supplements that you should be taking to support your immune system, or how to do certain techniques with fermentation, then let me know. I'm happy to, be on here and answer your questions, because this is a community of people that are interested in supporting gut and nutrition and immune system and doing all that naturally. So using food as medicine, this is what it's all about. And we do love the alchemy that happens in the kitchen. This is where the magic happens, in the kitchen. When you're using food as medicine, this is where the magic happens. in the kitchen. So you've got to get in the kitchen, you've got to get grubby in the kitchen, and you've got to make mess. And you know, that's what using food as medicine is all about. That agitation, that alchemy, the magic that happens in the kitchen when you're sprouting, you're growing your own veg, you're fermenting, all that exciting stuff. So if you haven't tried fermenting before, if you haven't tried making sauerkraut or kimchi or kefir or kombucha, let me know if you want to know more, because I go through phases. Like I like to have a lot of ferments in the fridge, in the cupboard, some on the go at various different stages. It's all good fun. There we go. I shall get cracking, continuing on with my sauerkraut. Thanks for watching. See you later.